Welcome, everybody. My name is Amy Rosen, and I am the Community Relations Director at River Landing. And I have missed you. The past few months have been long and draining, and it's just not the same when we do not have the opportunity to see those that we enjoy hanging out with. So today, I thought we would bring River Landing to you. I have teamed up with a buddy here at the community and someone that we know you love and miss to bring you a special cooking demonstration. And following the cooking demonstration, I am going to introduce you to this beautiful new clubhouse. So before we have the opportunity to do that, I would like to bring Chef James in and welcome him into this, because I know right now, so many of us right now are cooking from home, and it is challenging because I don't know about you, but I am running out of recipes. So I have decided that James can help us put some easy, fun recipes out there that you can cook from the convenience of your kitchen. Thank you, James.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's kind of weird not seeing faces and doing this in kind of a virtual format, but you know, we all make sacrifices in these times. So. Sorry, Amy is sneaking off screen here, which is quite entertaining. So what I wanted to do was kind of provide some different options for people that maybe aren't used to doing meals all the time, and give you the option to use up some leftovers. So what I have here is a half a cup of leftover mashed potatoes. I figure if everybody's going out and getting their to-go boxes of food, everybody's got little boxes and little leftovers, and I've kind of matched that with some vegetables, so we're going to make some gnocchi today. So I've got a half cup of mashed potatoes going into the bowl. I've got 1 egg. So I'm going to incorporate that together, kind of make like a mushy little paste. Generally, for the art of making pasta, you want to add about 1 cup of flour to every egg you use. Once you get above about 4 cups of flour, if you're making a lot for a big party or a big event that you're doing, you'll want to kind of double your eggs. So if you've got 4 cups of flour, you'll probably want to add that 5th egg to it. It just helps with the moisture content, helps with bringing it together. Then you always want to have a little bit of water available. But with gnocchi, the fun thing is there's a lot of moisture already in the mashed potatoes. So 1 cup of flour going in. You can use sweet potato mash if you want. You can use ricotta cheese. You can use almost anything that has some kind of binding. I've seen someone make it with yogurt before, and it actually works pretty well. It's a lot lighter than the usual. So a little back history on me. My grandparents were both from Italy. They had 8 children, so my grandmother would make this. I never knew that a gnocchi could be a light and fluffy kind of thing, because she was trying to feed 10 people with it. So she would make it very, very dense and very, very heavy. They'd eat their large meal and then go back out and work the fields the rest of the day. Farming and taking care of the cattle and doing everything else. So this meal was something that became called bullets in our family, because the bullets, aka the gnocchi, would sit so heavy in your stomach it felt like you ate lead. But it was a good meal that would last the entire day. So now I've just kind of worked that flour in a little bit, and now I'm going to kind of just turn it out on the board and just give it a little couple kneads, kind of pull it together. You can kind of see I'm really not putting a whole lot of pressure on here at all. It's very soft, very malleable, and that's kind of what you want. Now typically, I'd let this sit wrapped in plastic wrap for about a half an hour to allow all the moisture to get soaked up by the flour. In lieu of our short amount of time, I'm going to go ahead and just start making gnocchi. So, there are several different ways to go about this. Number 1, I brought a gnocchi board. This adds the little ridges that you're used to seeing, and all that really does is help the sauce cling to it. Now my grandmother, when she was making it for 10 people, she kind of cheated. So I'll show you that one first. So she'd take the dough and roll it into a long little strip, like so. And then she'd go down and she'd just cut little kind of squares out of it, or rectangles, I guess. Then she'd take her thumb and just put a thumbprint on each one. And what that does is reduce the cooking time. That'll flatten it out a little bit so that they're still not raw and gooey in the center. So that's one option. The way I was taught is to take your gnocchi board, get as much flour as you possibly can, kind of do the same pattern. Roll it on out. Get your little rectangles, cylindrical rectangles, if that's even a thing. I think I'm making up geometry shapes as I go here. And then you take your little piece of dough and you stretch it on, or just kind of press it in. And when it comes off, you've got this little kind of cute rolled little gnocchi. I don't know if you guys can see that, but really kind of puts those nice little lines on there, gives you some grooves, so anything that you cook these into are then going to hold that sauce and that flavor. Now the other approach that I've seen is a fork, where you do the same kind of thing, but you take a fork rolled in flour, and then you roll your fork over the top. So if you don't have a gnocchi board at the house, you can still make them quite easily. So I think this is going to be enough for us to kind of get a little pasta done. I kind of stuck too much. I'm low on flour here. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the pot of water right now. All right, cleaning off the hands a little bit. All right, so all I have is some salted boiling water here. I'm going to go ahead and drop these on in. You want to try to keep them separated as you drop them in, because they are sticky and they will stick to one another. These not as much, because we've got a lot of flour on them, so they're going to kind of stay separate a little easier. All right, clean up time. Magic of TV. Maybe this will be edited, maybe it won't be. All right, so there, that looks a little cleaner at least. All right, so now we're going to get our saute pan going. And keeping in the same kind of line as our leftovers, I just kind of have a random amount of vegetables. I have about a half a shallot, a couple grape tomatoes, about 3 pieces of asparagus that I chopped. If you've got a little tiny jar of capers in the fridge, I've got some capers. I had a couple mushrooms, a little yellow squash, some fresh basil, lemon. I'll explain a little bit more later why that's here. Some chili flake, because I like things spicy. That's why Amy and I are good friends. I have some minced garlic and some Parmesan to garnish. So once this pan gets hot, I'm going to go ahead and start throwing some vegetables in there. But right now, just gave the gnocchi a little stir. With it being a fresh pasta, it's not going to take very long to cook. So you're looking at maybe 2.5, 3 minutes of cook time, if that. Get out of the way. Pan's starting to get hot. A little extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to start with the shallot and the mushrooms. Those are going to take the longest to cook. Put those on in there. Once those kind of start sizzling a little bit, I'll go ahead and add the squash. That's going to be the 3rd longest. Alright, so most of my gnocchi are actually floating now, and that is a great way to gauge if they're done. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these up. Throw them onto our little platter. You see they kind of grew a little bit in size. Not a whole lot, but they did absorb some of the moisture. So we're just going to let those sit over here on the side. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of olive oil so they don't stick. I give them a little toss on the platter there. And shallots going. Alright, so now we'll hit it with the squash. Got a little bit of sweat on those shallots. The mushrooms will start to soften up a little bit. Alright, so I told you I'd get back to the lemon. Lemon is a chef's best friend. One of the main reasons why food tastes good in a restaurant is we all know a little trick that you guys probably don't. Almost anything I make, I'll add some kind of acidity to. Usually lemon juice, especially in vegetables, potatoes, even meats for a lot of cases. What it does is the acid in the lemon opens up the palate to be more receptive to other flavors. So that initial shock of lemon juice opens up your taste buds to where you taste the herbs, you taste the seasoning, you taste the pepper, you taste a lot more flavor than you would without. So that's kind of a necessity that I keep at home all the time. It's a necessity that I keep at work all the time. Try it sometime if you don't think that it's true. Just put a little bit of lemon juice, even on rice, pastas especially. I think they're fantastic because you get that little starchiness anyway, which kind of coats your palate. So you kind of lose a little bit of the flavors. All right, so now I'm going to add the asparagus. Add the tomatoes. And hit it with a little bit more oil. Kind of dried up a little bit there. There's a good sizzle. All right, so I love capers in pasta. Got such a nice brininess. And that juice from the capers are actually going to help deglaze. I'm going to go ahead and add a pinch of chili flake because I like it. You can definitely leave that out on your version. Starting to get a little crazy there. All right, clean up time again. Now, we're going to hit it with a little bit of lemon juice. And if you've noticed, I haven't added any salt to this dish. And we'll let Amy try it in a little bit and see if it's worth anything. Then we're going to add our gnocchi in there. We're going to try to get that tossed around. All I really kind of want to do is get a little seal to the outside of the gnocchi. I don't really want to rissolam, which is a term used to kind of brown in a pan. What I really want to do is allow that gnocchi to kind of soak up some of the flavors that are already in there, and then kind of seal them so they don't continue to get too mushy. So just a couple minutes in there, and I think we're good to go. I think that is done. So I'm going to turn off the heat while I take a little fresh basil and just tear it in. The basil I don't really want to cook too much.
I'm going to come join you now.
Okay, come on in. If
So,
food's ready, Amy shows up.
I have
That's how
a
it works.
question because I know that our viewers are going to ask a couple things. So number one, where could we get that gnocchi board if I wanted to buy one?
I think I got that one on Amazon. Mine that my grandmother had broken a while back. And that one I got as a replacement probably 2 years ago.
Okay. So Amazon or probably a local cooking store.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Williams-Sonoma, places like that.
Okay.
So all I did, I tore some fresh basil leaves to put in there because basil is pasta's best friend. So we're going to fill that bowl up.
Looks delicious.
A little Parmesan over the top with it.
James, how long do we keep the gnocchi in the pot of water with the salt? Like how many minutes?
Yeah,
would
and
you
usually, generally, until they float, I wouldn't go more than 2.5, 3 minutes.
Really?
Because they are fresh pasta. Let me know what you think, Amy.
Today we also have our really close friend and our top videographer with us, Michelle Jones. She's going to be with us
Michelle,
throughout
come
this
taste
event.
too.
So I want to get a good close-up of this, Michelle, and we're going to, turn this around so that you all can see Michelle in a few minutes. But this is a beautiful plate and easy.
Yeah, how long did that take me, y'all?
Not
very
long at all. And I know just personally myself, with it being the summer and it is so hot, I'm using and cooking a lot more with just vegetables, salads. I keep a lot of these vegetables on hand right now in my refrigerator. So I think this would be really easy,
Yeah.
something to do. So you want me to give this a try?
If you want to. I think it's got everything you like in there.
I do. We miss James's cooking. I told him that this morning.
Okay, you don't have to lie.
No, it's delicious. It is delicious. I told him before we got on here this morning, I love capers. I cook a lot of pastas and stuff with capers, so this is wonderful. Okay, Michelle, we want you to try it, and I'm going to come behind there for you. This is Michelle Jones. You all know her.
Everyone
Seen
waiting for
her
Michelle.
at a lot of our
Michelle.
events. Taste that and tell me what you think.
I love coffee. One of my favorites.
And it's funny because a lot of gnocchi dishes that I've become familiar with always have a sauce with them. But this one, there's no red sauce or anything. It's really easy. It was just done with the olive oil and vegetables. It's fantastic. Very
Good food doesn't need much.
Do not go far. James is going to be back. And I'm going to take you on a tour now of our beautiful clubhouse. So hang tight, and you're going to get to see the new gem of River Landing. Thank you, James.
Thank you, everyone. Be safe and be kind to one another.